burning out doesn't make you weak. And after 15 years of making videos now, I've burnt out more times than I can count. So today, we're gonna talk about the art of not burning out and also how to build a sustainable creative career that lasts. And every time I burnt out, it wasn't the work at hand necessarily that broke me. It was how I treated myself while doing it. Because most creators tend to think that the only way to make it is to push harder, work harder, sleep less, grind more, all of that. You have to outwork everyone else. No, that's not it. This is The Creator's Desk, a show about the process, strategy, and day-to-day reality of building a career as a creator. I've lived it, and now I'm sharing everything I've learned. I've gone through every single phase of burnout that you can imagine, from working multiple 14-hour days in a row, or editing until sunrise, saying yes to every job and opportunity, just trying to make ends meet, and also doing jobs just for the money, not because of the love of it or because I wanted to do it. And then I wondered why I didn't enjoy it anymore. Yeah, that's all of our problem, isn't it? I used to think that burnout was part of the job, like it was some sort of creative tax that you had to pay to reach success. But over time, I actually realized that burnout isn't a milestone. Not sleeping until late isn't something to be proud of. You need to balance it. And all of the creative people who sustained a long career, they've mastered that balance. So let's break down how to do this. Number one, rest is part of the process. I used to think that the more time I spent on working and the less time I spent on sleeping and dilly-dallying, I would reach success faster. But I was so wrong. It actually ended up taking longer in the long run. Because you can't expect to be creative on demand if you never give your creativity a time to grow, a time to breathe, a time to regain inspiration and give your body rest. You need to live. That is the basis of all art. That's how you regain inspiration. Because the best art, the best content is made through lived experiences. It's what makes you unique. It is your fingerprint to your art. It's how you live life and perceive it. Because when you spend all this time working, chiseling away at your dreams like a caveman, right? And you think this is the only way to do it, you have nothing to pull from. Because if art is an expression of how we feel, human connection, and the only thing that you're pulling from is the work that you do and not relatable life, it becomes the only thing we're pulling from. And the more you do that, the more you're straying away from the original voice that you wanted to share through your art or through your content. We talk a lot about consistency, but rest is a key ingredient to that consistency. So here's what I've learned. Creativity needs recovery. Your brain can't produce fresh ideas when you're stuck in survival mode, you're trying to make ends meet, you feel like you can't step away because all these reasons. But you know what? Sometimes stepping away isn't lazy. It's necessary. Go for walks, watch movies, watch shows, consume content. You need to live life outside of just chasing your dreams, because that's what honestly life is about. Your dreams are just your ego. The best ideas, more often than not, they show up when you finally stop forcing them. Schedule breaks the same way you schedule your work. If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen. I literally block off rest days the same way I block off filming days, editing days, writing days, meetings. I make sure I get the necessary rest I need. I treat rest like it's part of my workflow, not the reward for finishing work. And yes, you should be rewarded with rest, but you can't only be resting during that time. Redefine off days. There's a big misconception here. Rest days or taking time off doesn't always just mean doing nothing. It means doing something that refills you, whether that's going to a museum, playing golf, hang out with friends. For me, it's long drives or spending time with Sam and my dog or hitting some golf balls. For you, it might be journaling, reading, going to the beach, whatever it is, even if it's just sitting, having quiet time, or even doom scrolling, whatever that is, protect it and do it. It is the fuel for your next idea. Number 2, protect your creative energy. Burnout isn't just physical exhaustion. It's also emotional depletion. Because when your mind goes quiet, but not in a peaceful way, but in a numb way, you stop feeling excited about the things that used to excite you. You stop being excited about creating or the ideas. You stop caring about the things that used to light you up. And that's a bad place to be. You start creating out of obligation, not inspiration or expression. Simply put, you can't make art that feels alive if you feel drained all the time. Protecting your creative energy means you need to set boundaries with work, with clients, and even yourself. Because if you don't protect that, nobody else will for you. So here's how to do that. Don't say yes to everything. Every project has a cost. And it's not just money or time, but it's your focus. If something doesn't align with you or your goals or your values or, the time that you have, it's okay to pass on it. You're not missing an opportunity by not doing something. You can actually be hurting yourself in doing so. There's a saying, the joy of missing out. I love that because that actually creates the space for an even bigger or a better opportunity to come. Separate creation from consumption. It's so easy to scroll for inspiration and, you get overwhelmed by comparison or worse, you end up finding yourself doom scrolling for hours. So for me, I have designated times to create and also times to consume. One is going to fill your tank with creative inspiration, and the latter, it drains it. And you have to know the difference. This only works with intention, not impulse, not the dopamine rush. You can't let virality or these trends dictate your pace. Like just because you see something viral and you say, I need to try that right now so I can go viral and grow my following. If you do that long enough, it'll burn you out and you'll lose your identity. Because when you act on that urgency, nothing becomes intentional. Just slow down. Think what it means to make something, because protecting your energy is how you protect your creative voice. And when you protect this, your work starts to feel like you again. It starts to feel alive. You bring back that same curiosity, that passion, that expression, the same things that made you start creating to begin with when you stop caring about all of these things that you may be consuming, the same things that you may be comparing yourself to. And that's what leads to burnout. Because burnout isn't always just a sign that you've done too much. It's a sign that, you've given too much of yourself without refilling your own creative voice. And now, before we get to number 3, here is a word from our sponsor. The sponsor is me. If you're enjoying this so far and you want to go even deeper and build the foundational systems that make all of this possible, I built an online academy called Content College. Inside, you'll learn how to plan, write, film, edit, and post with a creative system designed to help you grow without burning out. And it's more than just courses. You'll also be getting my color grading preset, my sound effects pack, my templates, worksheets, and how I film and edit my videos from start to finish. And it just starts there because there is so much more inside. And I'm not just showing you how I make my videos. We'll be working on your videos together every step of the process. The skills you need that won't be affected by an algorithm. So if you're serious about taking your content to the next level, check out Content College. The link is below in the description. And now let's get back to number 3. Redefine success beyond views. The fastest way to burn out is to chase validation instead of your own unique and specific purpose. Because when you attach your work's worth to numbers, you start running on this treadmill and it honestly never stops. You hit your first milestone or your first viral video and now that bar is immediately raised. You start to think about if this one is going to match the last one you had. Stop doing that. You need to stop measuring your growth by how your content performs, but how it made you feel making it. If you feel good about the content you're making and you put it out, who's to say that just because it doesn't get the success rate you want, it's bad content? It's not, because the algorithm shouldn't dictate or define what you may see as success. You do. Because the creators who last the longest are the ones who understand that their metrics or this roller coaster of a journey isn't their meaning. It's wonderful data to go back to the drawing board with, but this isn't the defining factor if they continue creating or not. So here's how you can start redefining success in a way that actually will sustain you. Measure your progress by process, not your performance. Just ask yourself simple things like, am I creating more intentionally? Am I learning faster? Am I proud of what I made? Because that is what growth looks like. It's not just numbers or views or virality. It's not just people scrolling on the screen and sharing it. You need to love the process. People say that all the time. I understand it's a cliche, but you have to love the doing of it. Because if you love what you do, people are going to see it through what you create. And the result of what you create by doing these things, the numbers of followers and virality, is a byproduct of it. Find purpose outside of the platform. Your art should serve you, not the other way around. Whether it's teaching others or documenting your story or expressing what words can't, that is your why. And when you lead from that kind of intentionality behind your content, your audience is going to feel it. You know, your purpose gives your work direction more than metrics ever could. Detach your identity from outcomes. Understand this. You are not your analytics. You are a creative human being, and you just so happen to use tools and platforms to express this. When a video underperforms or it flops or whatever, it doesn't mean it's failed. You know, it's just proof that you're experimenting, you're trying, you're doing something new. You know, every creative, every artist have seasons. They go quiet, some are loud, you know, it's all part of this roller coaster ride of a journey. You know, it's a rhythm, it's a flow. You need to fully submit to that. This is what's going to happen, and these are all the possibilities. And the irony is when you stop chasing the numbers and start chasing the truth as to why you started making content, the numbers will come. People connect with creators who create from a place of authenticity, from a place where you're truly just expressing yourself and the things that you may find interesting or the things that you may share with the world. And doing that because you don't have to manipulate your voice or what you pretend to find interesting, you know, to whatever the algorithm wants. That's how you create a sustainable career in this. That's how you create a sustainable path. The more you have to veer off who you truly are, trying to fit into whatever you're not, the more you're going to end up closer to burning out forever. Because if you end up just being you in front of the camera and talk about the things that you genuinely don't have to script yourselves through, and you could just be yourself, you can't burn out by being yourself. I mean, clearly, I've made so many of these videos. I've done thousands of shorter form videos and so many of these as well. I've put them in courses. I've put them in so many different places. I could talk about this forever. I can't burn out because I truly enjoy this. And that is what real sustainable success looks like. I don't know how many people are going to watch this video. I don't know how many people are going to care. But because I'm doing this from a place of, here's some things that I know, and here are things that I enjoy sharing with people. And if it helps somebody, that's cool. But doing this helps my own creative expression. And in doing so, no matter what the niche is, no matter what the topic, that's how you fight burnout. Hope that helps. And that is where you find success. It's peace, it's purpose, and a creative life that truly feels like your own. All right, if you don't already know by now, I do a rapid fire Q&A from questions sorted and picked by my team, and I don't know what's coming up. So let's start answering the first one. I want to move from CapCut to a better or more advanced editing system. Which one would I recommend? I would 100% recommend Adobe Premiere. In my opinion, it is the greatest editing platform there is. It's straightforward. It could be the most simple or the most complex editing platform you want it to be. You can customize it to exactly what your needs are, whether it is the most detailed control or the most simplified control. I personally have been using it for years, and this isn't an ad for Adobe. This is just what I recommend. I don't see myself editing with any other platform. Best advice for starting new socials and growing an audience. If you watched every single video that I've posted of the Creator's Desk, it should show you how. And now it's not all topics, but it's the core principles. And also within Content College, it's every single fundamental to share who you are authentically, and that's unique to you. I'd say scheduling should be like 50% of your process, and then everything else like the filming, writing, posting is the other 50. The last one. I'm a new creator. What are 2 lights that you recommend for filming in a small space? Honestly, anything that you see on Amazon in like the $30 to $50 range will get you by enough. Because what's most important if you are a new creator is focusing on how you tell a story and how you tell that story unique to you. You need to find your identity and share what you stand for. And then once you feel like you've hit that wall where your gear is the limitation of how you share your story deeper, then you can go into what kind of light should you get? Should you get Amaran lights, aperture lights? Like, do you need a softbox or do you need like a roll-up light? All of those things are going to come later down the line, and you probably won't be there for another year or 2. For now, I highly, highly suggest just as a new creator to focus on story before your lighting. But if you need it, let's say for darker shots or something you're filming at night or outdoors, any of the battery powered lights will get you there. Well, that wraps up the Ask Adrian portion. And I want to say something here. This actually wraps season 1 of the Creator's Desk. That was fun. I'm going to take this little break now. It's only going to be for a month to film new episodes. And yeah, that was a really cool experience outside of doing just short form content. So if you've been here since episode 1, thank you. I hope to see you in these next coming episodes. And please let me know in the comments. Give me feedback. What do we want to see? What new topics are there? Okay, please tell me because we might just make an episode based around your suggestions. Until then, that wraps up season 1. It was such a pleasure. Peace.